Okay, so I'm pretty sure, anyway, I said in my last car talk video that my next game project, aside from visual novels, because I still am working on Muddle of the Day After, and after that I'm going into Fate. But now that I'm finished with Lunar, my next game project is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Watching Clay play Engage, it kind of gave me the itch. I'm like, I really want to play it. But he's occupied with this one, and from what I understand, Ike's game is really good. Ike himself, I know, is a very well-regarded character in the series. I really want to play some Fire Emblem, so let's go. Let's get this shit done. I've played the game for about 10 and a half, maybe 11 hours or so. So like a relatively decent chunk of time, almost about like half the time I put into Lunar. And I've spent a couple of my days off. It was last Friday and yesterday specifically, like really trying to put a lot of time into the game. And so I guess those hours does not include maps I've had to restart because of permadeath. So after spending about 2 days really playing the game and trying to make some progress, which I guess as a point of reference, I'm on chapter 12, I think, like 11 or 12. I just did the map with, you're trying to get onto the ship, for anyone who's played it, you're trying to get onto the ship, and then some point the Wyvern Riders and Jill show up, and then partly later the Black Knight shows up. I just did that map, and after kind of thinking about it, I'm ready to give this game a Snoop Dogg award. I don't know if I've ever explained what that is on the channel. Not since I've been doing videos again, because like I started doing it pretty early last year, and then I just stopped, and then I started again. So maybe in the early parts I did, but just in case it is something I've never brought up before, our great modern philosopher Snoop Dogg once said, quote, "Drop it like it's hot," end quote. So when I give something a Snoop Dogg award, that is because I am dropping it, and as far as I am concerned, I am done. Now, if I want to go back to it later and say, I've kind of thought about it more, or it's like I've done a lot of other shit, let me give this another shot, I can pick it back up. There's nothing wrong with that. But I owe this game nothing. I owe playing it to no one in particular. I am not forced to do this. So if I don't want to play it, I'm not going to play it. But I do want to talk about the reasons why I am giving it this prestigious award. The game is slow. The game is painfully, agonizingly slow. The combat animations, very slow and repetitive. The units' movements are very slow. Especially when you have like the heavily armored units who are just lumbering around. Like I literally, every time I see an armored unit in this game, I refer to them as the lumber yard. Because of how they just fucking lumber around the battlefield so slowly. There are a lot of units on the enemy team, which is generally just how Fire Emblem works. And when it's the enemy turn, there's no option to fast forward. At least none that I have found. I know in other games I've played, like Three Houses, and I'm pretty sure it happened in Echoes and Awakening as well, I could like hold a button and kind of like speed through the enemy movements. Still see where they were going and what they were doing, but it was just fast. I know there's also an option where I can just skip the enemy turn. Now, everything they do still happens. I just like push start. Do you want to skip the phase? Yes. And then it'll kind of cut to my turn. And if someone dies, it will let me know. Like I'll get a quick thing of them like going, like they're like the disappearing sound, see their quote, so I know, oh, okay, this person died. I need to redo shit, or no, we're fine. That's not an option in Path of Radiance. So I have to wait for all like 15 enemy units to slowly march to their new spot, possibly initiate combat, wait through the animation, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. And it starts to add up really quickly. Especially if you have to redo a map. Every Fire Emblem game I have played, which is only 3, I've played through Awakening, Echoes, 3 Houses. Each of those games gave me the option. Do you want to play in classic mode, where when someone dies, they are permanently dead? Or do you want to play in casual mode, where, excuse me, if someone dies, they're usable in the next map? I have always played it on classic, because I'm like, that's how Fire Emblem is apparently supposed to be played. I will do that. 2 of those 3 games, Awakening being the exception, gives me redos. In Echoes, I believe it's called like Milla's Turn Wheel, and then in 3 Houses, it's the Divine Pulses. You start with a very limited amount. I think you start with like 1 or 2 at the start, and then as the game goes on, you get extras. I think you actually have to go out of your way to earn some of the extras, and at max, you get like 6 or so. And what this lets you do is, at any point in a map, you can say, I done goofed. Let me rewind to this point, and you get to choose which point it is. It can be like the start of the turn. It can be way further back. Say, I fucked up. Let me fix this. And I like that a lot because of the permadeath angle. One of my favorite games of all time is chess. And I am not arrogant enough to say I am good at chess, because I see the shit that people, like, who are good at chess, I see the shit they can do, like how they have studied the game, how they're like, oh, shit, this person did this opening. I know this opening is really tough to crack, so I gotta be super defensive. Or, oh, they made that opening, which of course means they're susceptible to this specific attack pattern, so because they did that move in turn 2, I can get them in checkmate in turn 6. Like, there's crazy shit. I can't do that. I can, plan a few moves ahead, and if I really want to, I can be like, all right, let me, really play shit out. I like to play a very defensive game. I like to just kind of react to shit as it happens, because that's just fun to me. That's what I enjoy. But I do love it. I love the strategy element. I love how chess is not RNG. I don't have to worry about a crit. I don't have to worry about missing. It's just, what is the best plan for me to do? And because there's no permadeath, I don't mind the fact that there's no rewinds in chess. It's not like, oh shit, I lost my bishop. Now the next game of chess I play, I will not have a white bishop. Or like, oh shit, I lost my queen. Now I will never have a queen in any game of chess I ever play. Because that's insane. Not how it works in Fire Emblem. You lose this piece. Like, your main character is your king. So like, if that's done, you're done. You have to reset. Everyone else is technically expendable. In games with a rewind, I like that because, it is punishing, but it gives you a leash. It gives you some leeway. Not a whole lot, but as the game, but just enough. And then as the game goes on, you get better at the game, but the game gets harder. It kind of rewards you. It's like, you've done well enough. Here's another one. You might need it, but here's another one. Here's a little bit more leeway. Here's a little bit more leeway. Not and I feel like by the end, I'm like, this feels balanced. This feels fair. I can make mistakes, but I can't make too many. That's not how Path of Radiance works. There are no redos. If you lose a unit, whether it is genuinely due to your own fault or bullshit, because sometimes it's both, fuck you. Either keep going and lose that piece forever, or restart the map. So of course I'm going to restart the map, and with the game being as slow as it is, it just takes its toll. I don't think the music is that good. Echoes has a banger soundtrack. I don't super remember the soundtrack to Awakening, but I remember Don't Speak Her Name. It's one of my favorite songs of the series. But like that one, I don't super remember it, but I remember liking it. Three Houses has a money soundtrack. I'm listening to Clay play Engage. I'm like, all right, this isn't as good as maybe Three Houses or Echoes, but I still like the soundtrack. The Path of Radiance soundtrack like does nothing for me. I very frequently will just put in headphones and listen to my own music. And when I do that, I'm enjoying the music more, but I'm also kind of realizing, I'm like, wait, that song is already over? That was like a 4.5 minute song. The enemy units are still moving. But like, it makes me a lot more aware of how much time is going by. And I just keep feeling like my time is being wasted. I think the story so far to where I am at is fine. Has some interesting shit happened? Sure. But I haven't gotten to a point where I've thought, this is really interesting. Like, I hate to use the pun because Engage is the name of the new game, but I don't really feel that engaged with the storyline. I think it's fine. It feels like the storyline at this point, there's, like I said, a couple interesting things, but it's there to serve the gameplay and just get you to the next map. And I've had a couple maps I've enjoyed. Like, I really liked the one in the prison, where it's like, here's a bunch of units, you have to rescue them, but if you do, they join the party. That was a blast of a map. And then there was the one right after with Jill, where it was just really, really long, because there were a lot of fucking dudes that had to move. And I'm like, okay, we like took care of that. Now we can start moving to the end of the stage. And then the Wyvern Riders show up, and there's like this dialogue about how like, all right, don't really get engaged with them, like don't be aggro, but if they attack you, fuck them up. I'm like, okay, cool. So as long as I don't initiate combat, I should be fine. I'll put a couple people here to be like choke points to protect my squishier units, but I'm not going to be aggressive to them. Oh shit, they're now attacking me. Well, so much for that shit. Well, Jill is clearly going to be a unit. Like, she's named, she has a portrait, she matches the art style of the other units. So cool. I'm going to go talk to her with Ike and recruit her, because that's generally how this shit works. Oh, I can't talk to her. I can only attack her. Well, I'm not actually going to attack her because I want to be able to recruit her later. Game, Internet, how do I do this? Oh, okay, she has to survive. Cool, so I will just not attack her. So she's attacking me, taking damage, and then she flies off to recoup and then, like, heal. I'm like, cool, fine. Don't have to deal with you anymore. I've killed those guys because they attacked me. I mean, some of them I had to go and, like, finish off because they were going to kill my units. But I'm like, all right, they're dead. These guys are dead. Let's move toward the boss, and then we can escape. Then the Black Knight shows up, ends up lumbering to a unit who was literally stuck because a thief was in between him and a house, and he could not move, and the Black Knight kills him. Well, I'm really glad I knew this guy was going to be in the map. And yeah, there's a cutscene before the start of the map where he talks to the boss, but the boss is like, hey man, I don't want you showing up, we got this. And he's like, fine, I won't. So I'm like, cool, I guess he's not going to show up. But then he does. And then I had a unit who literally could not move, and he got killed for it. Fuck you, game. Jill, even though I am not attacking her anymore, keeps coming up to my units and attacking them. She survives, and she has 2 HP. Then with 2 HP, she goes and attacks another unit and gets herself killed. I'm like, this is so... Not only did one of my units just get screwed because a super boss showed up partway through the map and he couldn't move, a potential unit that I really wanted to recruit because I really like Wyvern Riders got herself killed, and there was nothing I could do about it. Fuck you. You've got Boyd, who is probably one of the most useless units I've ever had in a Fire Emblem game. He's an axe user. So generally when I think of an axe user is really strong, can tank a physical hit, like, cannot tank a magic hit. But, maybe if you upgrade them, like, they actually have some pretty decent resistance. Not a great accuracy, but they're so strong it kind of makes up for it. He's decently strong. Excuse me. He can't hit for shit. Cannot take a magic hit for shit. But he also can't take physical hits for shit. He was like level 7, level 8. And then his little brother joins, who is level 1 and is literally a child. The literal child's defense stat was already higher than Boyd's, because Boyd sucks. I literally had this motherfucker level up, and he got no stat increases. I didn't know that could happen. I thought you were guaranteed a minimum of 1, which is a bad level. 2 stat increases is a bad level. He got 0. That moment broke me. And that was before the shit on that last map. Like, that was on Friday. I was like, okay, that's 1. Game, that's 1. And then yesterday, there was the shit on that map. Honestly, that was 2 and that was 3. But before then, there was another map, which it's like you have to go seize a castle. What is the map? It's go seize a castle, but there's also like a ship and some shit over there, and then the Pegasus Knight you might have talked to earlier comes in, like tries to recruit, and like a couple, like your little sister joins the unit, the little brother with the arrows joins the unit. I was literally in a situation where, because you also have some NPCs with you. An NPC was in a spot I did not need them to be in. If they had moved from that, if they were not in that spot, I could have put one of my mages there, which would have, based on the way the rest of the turn had went, would have killed the boss and would have won the map. However, because she was there, I could not finish off the boss, and I ended up losing a unit. And I was so angry because that stupid fucking NPC screwed up the map. But I had to start it over. I started over. And then I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, this is the range of the enemy units. They cannot hit my healer. She is genuinely out of range. Cool. Ending my turn. NPC unit moves. Now because he moved, the range of the enemies has now increased, and they go and kill my healer. So I have to restart the map again. Thankfully, that was really early in the turn. But it was also, like, based on the information available, I made a good play. And then the game just said no. Getting really fucking tired of this. And I've come to realize, in the 2 days, like 2 days off, where I was like, I'm gonna play the game, I'm gonna make a lot of progress, I haven't had a lot of fun. So why should I bother playing anymore? Like, I've talked about Final Fantasy IX, like, I have a whole, like, hour-and-a-half video about it, where I talk about how I did not have fun with the gameplay. I think it's slow, I think it's way too easy, and it's just, it feels like it's almost designed to waste my time. But I thought the story was so interesting, and the characters were so charming, that I had to stick with it and I gotta stick with it and see where it goes. By the end, I mean, it's almost kind of hard to say if it was worth it, because, like, I do like the game overall, and I like some of the things in the end. I literally did cry at the ending. I didn't really like where the game went by the end. It was like, man, here's all this crazy shit. I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care about this. Like, I liked a lot of the more smaller stuff. Like, but I did like it overall, and I'm glad I played it. But I don't have that, man, this story is so interesting, I've got to push through it anymore. And also, you know what happens if a party member dies in 9? They're fine, I can keep using them. I don't want to deal with this permadeath resetting map shit anymore. I've got a lot of games I want to play this year. Time is not a commodity I like to waste. And if I'm actively not enjoying the game after about 11, like officially 11 hours, unofficially a lot more because of maps I've had to reset, I don't want to do this. Now, like I said, I might change my mind later in the year. I might be like, you know what? Let me pick it back up. I've played some other shit. Let me just kind of see how it goes. But at this point, I'm ready to officially say I am giving it a Snoop Dogg award because I'm dropping it like it's hot. My next game project is going to be Tales of Symphonia. From looking into it, it does not sound like the remaster is really an improvement over the GameCube version. There's there's some extra content, but the GameCube version has plenty of content anyways. Excuse me. From what I understand, skits are not going to be voiced, which for me would have been like a huge reason to buy it because the unvoiced skits just feel so kind of dead, especially after playing every other Tales game I've played. And I know the frame rate is cut in half, and from what I've heard from people who have played the 30 FPS versions, it's noticeable, and it just does not play nearly as well. Also, it saves me $40. So I'm probably not going to get started on it today. I don't know when I will be booting it up. But this is one of my favorite games of all time. I've been meaning to replay it for years. I'm really, really looking forward to it, and if I play Path of Radiance again, I will. And if I don't, But I will say, something I do have to give the game a lot of credit for. No pun intended, but I do like Ike. Ike is a really good dude. He's a really good unit. He's strong, he's tanky, he's like really good at dodging shit. He's just a really compassionate person. You get the sense of like, yeah, he's a bad motherfucker. But he genuinely cares. Not just about the people in his company, but like he just has a good heart for other people. I really like that about him. And yeah, I've seen all the memes about Soren and Engage just roasting people and not giving a shit. And from what I've seen of him in Path of Radiance, I'm like, yeah, that tracks. He's a real piece of shit, but I really like him for it. Like, I do like the cast, but I don't find them to be like, man, I like these characters so much, I've got to keep playing the game. Like, I like them, but if anything, it's like, I like them, I don't want them to die, which leads to the problems and like frustrations with the game itself. But that's really all I've got to say about that.